On a crisp November day in 1961, the Greek cargo ship Theo sliced through the calm waters of the Bahamas. Second Officer Nikolaos Spachidakis scanned the horizon through his binoculars, expecting nothing more than the endless blue expanse. Then, a speck caught his eye, a tiny raft drifting aimlessly. As the ship drew closer, the crew stared in stunned silence. A fair-haired girl lay sprawled across a fragile cork float, her skin blistered and red from the unrelenting sun, her lips cracked and bloodied from thirst. Her body temperature had spiked to a perilous 40.5 degrees Celsius, yet faint breaths rattled through her chest. 11-year-old Terry Jo Dupereau had survived nearly 4 days alone on the open ocean, a fragile survivor of a nightmare that would soon grip the world's attention. A crewman snapped a photograph of the moment, a lone figure dwarfed by the vast sea. That image would splash across newspapers globally, but the story behind it began as a simple family dream. Dr. Arthur Dupereau, a respected ophthalmologist from Green Bay, Wisconsin, had long yearned to sail the Bahamas with his family. With his wife Jean, 38, and their 3 children, 14-year-old Brian, 11-year-old Terry Jo, and 7-year-old Renee, they saved for years to rent the Bluebell, an 18-meter yacht. Captain Julian Harvey, a 44-year-old war veteran with a disarming smile, helmed the vessel, joined by his new wife, Mary Dean, married just 4 months prior. The trip started as paradise. The family snorkeled near Great Abaco Island, collecting seashells on powdery beaches. Dr. Dupereau even told a local official of plans to return for Christmas. But beneath Harvey's charm lurked a dark history. 5 previous wives had died mysteriously, and his boats, always heavily insured, had a habit of sinking, leaving him richer each time. No one suspected the monster steering their dream. On November 12th, Terry Jo retired early to her cabin. That small choice saved her life. In the dead of night, her brother's scream shattered the silence. "Help, Daddy, help!" She later told Fox News, nearly 50 years on, "It was a scream that told you something awful was happening. Harvey had struck. He murdered Mary, insured for a hefty sum, planning to stage her death as an accident. Dr. Dupereau stumbled upon the crime and confronted him, only to be killed. As the family rushed to the scene, Harvey silenced them one by one, leaving no witnesses. When Terry Jo reached the deck, she froze. Her mother and brother lay lifeless in pools of blood. Harvey shoved her back to her cabin, where she huddled in terror. Soon, water seeped in. Harvey had opened the sea valves to sink the Bluebell and erase his crime. At the last moment, he tossed her a rope from the lifeboat. Her friend Richard Logan later deduced it was no mercy. He saw her and realized she could survive. He meant to kill her. Instinctively, Terry Jo let go. As the yacht sank, she untied the cork float, clad only in a blouse and pink pants, and drifted into the abyss. Her fight for survival began. The first night, waves battered the raft, soaking her to the bone. Salt stung her raw skin. The wind pierced like ice. She clung to the float, directionless, as thirst set in by dawn. The ocean taunted her. Water everywhere, none to drink. Her lips crusted over, splitting with each breath. By midday, the sun blazed, scorching her unprotected skin. She dangled her legs in the sea to cool off, heart pounding at every shadow below. A fin appeared, and she braced for a shark, only to see dolphins circling her, as if standing guard. Nights brought shivering cold. She shifted gingerly, balancing on the frail raft under a canopy of stars, her only companions. By the second day, hunger gnawed at her, small fish darting just out of reach. On the third, exhaustion birthed hallucinations. She heard her parents' voices, saw phantom islands vanish as she paddled toward them. Once, a ship shimmered on the horizon. She tried to scream, but her throat rasped silently. In the stillest moments, when the sea turned to glass under a merciless sun, time dissolved. The endless blue swallowed her hope, yet she endured. Meanwhile, Harvey washed ashore in a lifeboat with Renee's body, spinning a tale of a storm and fire. He played the grieving hero, claiming he'd tried to save the child he'd found floating. The world bought it, until Terry Jo's rescue unraveled his lies. Spotted by the Theo, after nearly 4 days, she was too weak to stand. her skin a map of blisters, her clothes stiff with salt. Doctors in Miami, where she recovered for a week, said hours more would have killed her. When she could finally speak, her account exposed Harvey's atrocities. Back in Florida, Harvey heard of her survival on the radio. Pale and stammering, he muttered, "My God, that's wonderful," a hollow mask for his dread. The next day, he was found dead in his motel bathroom, throat slit, a coward's exit. Investigations revealed his pattern: dead wives, sunken ships, insurance windfalls. This time, a child's will had undone him. Terry Joe's survival left a legacy. A plaque in Fort Howard Memorial Park, Wisconsin, honors her family. In memory of the Dupereau family, lost near the Bahamas, November 12, 1961. Forever found in the hearts of loved ones, resting with the eternal. For years, she stayed silent, the trauma buried deep. In the 1980s, she confided in friends, leading to therapy and her book, Alone, Orphaned on the Ocean, co-authored with Logan. At a signing decades later, former teachers and colleagues approached her, regretful they'd never helped back then. They were told to act like nothing happened, she told an interviewer. That moment shifted her perspective. 4 days alone with the ocean either breaks you or makes you stronger, she said. I learned hope is always there. You just don't see it coming. Now Tara Fassbender, she still embraces water, working near it despite her past. I was an outdoor kid, never afraid, she says. I had faith, prayed, and went with the flow. Her story, a testament to human resilience, echoes beyond the Bluebell's watery grave in the Bahamas, a silent witness to her triumph over a brutal crime.